The great hall of the Galactic Senate was filled with thousands of species. Every seat was taken. The massive dome above showed the stars of 1,000 conquered worlds. The Empire had ruled for 10,000 years. They had never lost a war. They had never shown mercy. And now they were angry. High Commander stood at the center podium. His scales shimmered under the lights. His 6 eyes burned with fury. He slammed his fist against the ancient stone. "They refused us," he roared. "These humans, these insignificant creatures from a forgotten corner of the galaxy, they refused to surrender their planet." The crowd erupted in anger. Thousands of voices called for blood. The senators of different species shouted for immediate invasion. The Empire had never been refused. When they came to a planet, they gave 2 choices: surrender and serve, or face complete destruction. No species had ever chosen destruction, until now. Admiral, a massive creature with armored skin and 4 arms, stood from his seat. "Then we burn their world. We have done it before. We will do it again. Their planet will become dust and their species will become a memory." The crowd cheered. More voices joined the call for war. The bloodlust in the hall was thick enough to taste. These were beings who had conquered half the known universe. They feared nothing. They respected no one. And they were about to make a decision that would change everything. But in the shadows of the hall, one figure remained silent. General sat alone. He was old. His once bright scales had faded to gray. His body carried the scars of 100 battles. He had led the Empire's greatest victories. He had destroyed civilizations. He had watched planets burn, but he said nothing. He only listened. High Commander noticed the old general's silence. He pointed toward him. "General, you who have won more wars than any living being, you who crushed the rebellion, you who broke the endless fleet at the Battle of Dark Stars, speak. Tell us how we should destroy these humans." The hall fell quiet. All eyes turned to the old warrior. General slowly rose from his seat. His bones ached. His body was tired, but his mind was sharp. He walked toward the center podium with slow, measured steps. Each step echoed in the silence. When he reached the podium, he did not shout. He did not roar. He spoke in a whisper, but that whisper carried to every corner of the massive hall. "You want war with Earth," he said. "Then let me tell you about Earth." High Commander smiled. "Yes, tell us about their weakness. Tell us how to break them." General shook his head slowly. "I will tell you no such thing, because I do not know their weakness. In 50 years of studying humans, I have never found one." The crowd murmured in confusion. Admiral laughed. "They are soft creatures. They have no natural armor, no claws, no venom. They cannot even breathe underwater. They are fragile." General turned to face the Admiral. "Yes, their bodies are weak. One of our warriors could tear a human apart with bare hands. But you are making the same mistake that doomed the... You are measuring strength by the wrong scale." He reached into his coat and pulled out a small device. He pressed a button, and a hologram appeared above the podium. It showed a small blue planet spinning slowly in the darkness of space. "This is Earth," he said. "It sits in what humans call the Goldilocks zone of their solar system, close enough to their star for liquid water, far enough to avoid burning. It seems perfect, but it is not perfect. It is a death world." The crowd shifted uncomfortably. They had heard of death worlds, planets so dangerous that most life could not survive. But death worlds produced only primitive beasts, not civilizations. General continued. "Earth has every natural disaster imaginable. Massive storms that span entire oceans, mountains that explode with liquid fire. The ground itself shakes and splits open, walls of water that destroy coastlines, winds that can flatten cities, cold that freezes creatures solid, heat that burns the land to ash." He paused, and yet humans did not hide from these things. They lived through them, again and again, for millions of years. He changed the hologram. Now it showed images of Earth's history, strange creatures with massive teeth, beasts with armored bodies, predators that could crush bone with a single bite. These are the creatures humans evolved alongside, predators that would make our warriors look like children. And humans had no claws, no fangs, no armor. They had only their minds. Admiral waved his hand dismissively. So they are clever. Clever creatures die just as easily as stupid ones. General smiled. It was not a happy smile. You still do not understand. Let me explain what humans did to survive. He showed new images. A human standing in the snow, wrapped in the skin of a dead animal. A human creating fire with rocks. A human throwing a sharpened stick at a creature 3 times its size. They took the strength of other creatures and made it their own. Cold cannot kill them because they take the fur of other beasts. Fire serves them because they learned to create it. They run slower than their prey, but they invented something we have never seen in any other species. They call it persistence hunting. He let the words hang in the air. Humans are not fast, but they do not stop. They chase their prey for hours, days, until the prey collapses from exhaustion. Humans do not quit. Their bodies are designed to keep going long after other creatures would have given up and died. Senator, a thin creature with translucent skin, spoke up. This is interesting history, but we have ships that can crack planets. What does their primitive past matter? General turned to face the senator. Because they have not changed, they still do not quit, ever. He showed new images, human wars, battles that lasted years, soldiers fighting in frozen wastelands, armies marching through burning deserts, cities reduced to rubble and humans still fighting in the ruins. They fight each other constantly. They have never known lasting peace. Their entire history is conflict, but look at what they do after their wars. The images changed again. The same cities rebuilt, better than before, humans laughing, humans building, humans creating new technologies from the ashes of the old. They do not just survive, General said. They grow stronger. Every time they are knocked down, they rise higher than before. They take their worst disasters and turn them into opportunities. High Commander was growing impatient. We have technology they cannot imagine. They have had space travel for barely 200 years. We have had it for 10,000. General nodded. Yes, they are young, and that should terrify you more than anything else. He pulled up new data, charts and graphs that showed human technological advancement. In 200 years, they went from riding animals to walking on their moon. In 50 more years, they spread across their solar system. In another 100, they built ships that rival our own. Do you understand what this means? He looked around the hall. We took 3,000 years to achieve what they did in 300. They learn at a speed that should be impossible. They adapt in ways that defy logic. And every time they face a challenge, they become better, faster, more dangerous. Admiral stood again. Then we strike now, before they become stronger. General closed his eyes. When he opened them again, there was something like sadness in his gaze. I once thought as you do. 15 years ago, I sent a scout ship to observe Earth. It was one of our finest vessels, cloaked, undetectable, or so we believed. The hall was completely silent now. The humans found it in 6 days. 6 days, with technology that should have been invisible to them. And when they found it, they did not attack. They captured it. They took it apart piece by piece. And they learned. He showed the final image. A human ship. It looked familiar because it contained technology mixed with human designs. This ship was built 2 years after they captured ours. It is faster than anything we have. Its weapons are based on our own but improved. They did not just copy us. They made our technology better. General's voice dropped to a whisper. They have a saying on Earth. What doesn't kill me makes me stronger. If you attack them, you will not destroy them. You will teach them. You will give them reasons to unite against a common enemy. You will give them access to more of our technology, and you will show them exactly how we wage war. He stepped back from the podium. I have fought beings who wanted to die in glory. I have fought beings who wanted to protect their homes. I have fought beings who had nothing left to lose, but I have never seen a species like humans. They fight for ideas. They die for concepts. They will sacrifice everything for what they call freedom. And the ones who survive will remember. They will learn, and they will come for us. High Commander stared at the old general. Then what do you suggest? That we bow to these creatures, that we show weakness? General shook his head. I suggest we trade with them. I suggest we make them our allies, because if they are beside us, they will make us unstoppable, but if they are against us... He walked toward the exit. Before he left, he turned one last time. I have seen the death of empires. I have watched civilizations fall. And I tell you now, with every scar on my body as proof of my experience, that if you make war on humanity, you will not be facing a battle. You will be starting a war that will end only when one of us no longer exists, and I am not certain it will be them. He walked out of the hall. The senators sat in stunned silence. High Commander looked at the hologram of the small blue planet still floating above the podium. Somewhere in the back of the hall, a young senator whispered to his colleague, "The humans rejected our demands. They said they would rather die standing than live kneeling." His colleague nodded slowly, "And now I understand why." The vote for war was postponed indefinitely. 3 months later, the first trade agreement was signed between Earth and the Empire. General was present at the ceremony. A human diplomat shook his hand. "Thank you," the human said quietly, "for giving us a chance." General looked into the human's eyes. They were soft and wet. They seemed kind. But behind them he saw something else. A steel that ran deeper than any armor, a fire that would never go out. "I did not do it for you," the general replied. "I did it for us." The human smiled. It was a warm smile. But General had studied humans long enough to know the truth. That same mouth that smiled so gently could bare its teeth in war. Those same hands that built hospitals also built weapons. And that same heart that loved with fierce loyalty could hate with equal power. He had saved his empire, not from humans, but from the terrible mistake of making them enemies. And as he watched the human delegates laugh and talk with senators who had called for their extinction just months ago, he knew he had made the right choice. Because the universe was vast and dark and full of dangers, and in that darkness humans did not hide. They lit fires. They built ships. They reached for the stars with hands that had once thrown stones at predators, and they never, ever stopped. That was the truth about Earth. That was the whisper that saved an empire. And that was why, for the first time in 10,000 years, they chose peace instead of war.